Alright, I'm gonna pause the music though for this. So, I've been a role player in GTA only since May. Not a long time when you get down to it. But I've been role playing since I was 15 years old. From the very first time I picked up a Vampire the Masquerade first edition book. Might even have one. No, I don't have it down here. It's upstairs. I have the LARP books over here, actually. The LARP books are off to the side. So, yes, Nate is full on Christmas right now. Look at him. There was Nate, Rick, Casey, all dressed as like this variation of Santa, and Kyra dressed up as a chick. It's in Christmas gear. So I want to talk today about what I believe a good role player is. Let me just first see here. Hey, who is around? Yo, Rick's around. Hi there. Hannah's around. Woohoo! Mr. Dringle. Okay, so I was asked to do this a while ago, to consider doing something like this, because I have a bit of a unique perspective. I've been around in roleplay in a various number of games for a long time, 25 years plus. I was 15 when I started role-playing, and I'm now 40. So, simple math. I've done Dice and Paper. I've done online through Mushes and Mucks and what have you, which is all text-based. I've done GTA, ARC. Did LARP for a number of years. I've run 2 LARP games, one of them for two years until I said enough is enough. That was actually this time last year I quit it. And there hasn't been a LARP game back in the city since. Feel bad, but anyway. So there are a few things that I like to see from my role players whenever I play with them or I administer them. The first and foremost is the understanding that you are there for one reason alone, and that is to have fun with others. Not necessarily you just you having fun. You having fun is great, but you need to be able to bring fun to that crowd. You are as responsible as they are for creating the world and creating the story. So you want to be able to be immersive. Like we always use this in GTA, immersion, all the time. Like if I want to put on immersion stuff, I pop on my cinematic view, which for some reason isn't firing right now. Why? There we go. Oh, what? That's not the button at all, guys. It just went to prep for fun. Okay, cool. Let's try that again. There we go. So I pop on the cinematic view. Aha, see? Immersion. But I want to talk to you guys, so. You want to attend this funeral? No. No. Anyway. So you're there, number 1, have fun. Create a story that is fun with other people. Number 2 is understanding. You have to understand that you yourself come into the game and you leave you behind. You become the character. In this case, I play Nate Blasky. Nate Blasky is a former biker. He's a bit of a badass. He's a bit of an asshole. He's a bit of a sarcastic kid, all wrapped in this one character. I'm not a former biker myself. I'm not a badass. I'm actually a rather giant teddy bear. I can be a bit of a kid, though. Yeah, you get me there. I'm going to go ahead, by the way, and mute chatbot because I don't want to get any of those god-awful sounds right now. But you have to have the understanding that you leave you behind and you play this character. Now, there's a bit of a fine line with that because you have to be careful, because the next thing I'm going to say about understanding is you have to understand that the person that you're playing with may not do it to the same degree you do. So if you do something that makes you feel like as though that person isn't feeling right about things, reach out to them, right? Have a word with them, chat with them. Just make sure things are cool. You don't have to talk about story stuff. You don't talk about your character. None of that. That's metagaming. You want to just talk about, make sure that they understand that you're just there doing this because it's your character, you're having fun with it. That's a two-way street, though. When you talk to somebody, sorry, it was connected for you. When you talk to somebody, or if somebody talks to you rather about stuff, talk back to them. Don't ignore them, because what they're bringing to you is a concern. Even if you think it's invalid, Let them know, hey, this is how it is from my perspective, and it's going to open up a lot of avenues. Being able to talk with a fellow role player is how you build friendships, because you don't build friendships in game with this person. You build animosities and maybe friendships with their characters, but you build friendships and a community out of game with the understanding of how people are. I used to go to these things called offboarding sessions with my LARP, where after game or between games, we would go and do all these like actions and notes and so forth, stuff that defined what we did between games. After the game, we would go out to a restaurant for dinner and we would hang out together. And you got to know each other that way. It was really fucking cool. And you got to be you instead of the character. 1 second here. When you play in GTA Online or an online-based game, Ark or what have you, it's hard to do that. But you could build communities through, like, RP First has Discord. We use Discord and we talk to each other a lot, like all the time. We get to know each other. We get to know who the main players are. Or even my Discord. The person who plays Hannah is Troublemaker. She's on my Discord. We chat quite a bit. And even before she started playing heavily with me, I let her know up front, like, Nate's a complex character with simple ideas. He's a very, very down-to-earth individual, but he has had a rough past when it comes to people that he gets close to or plays around with. Sounds dirty. Anyway, phrasing? No, don't do phrasing. So I told the player, not without telling her everything about the character, this is what you could expect to have barriers on, and if you don't want to deal with it, don't play with the character. Because I like deep story, I like in-depth. I've had in the past where I've actually had trouble with players, and I've messaged them and I've been ignored with those messages, and I don't care why. I think it's very rude and I think it's very unprofessional. If you've got a problem with a player and you're avoiding them, you're never, ever, ever going to address that. And for all you know, your problem with one specific player could very well be your perception of said player versus the reality. Or it could be you. It could be the player, but it's more often the perception in one way or another. It has almost nothing to do with that person because you don't know these people. You really don't. Like, what I know of Troublemaker versus anybody else is about the same. I know what country she lives in. I know that she's a woman. I know what she lets us into, just like you guys know what I let you into. So, you gotta have the understanding, communication. You have to understand the rule set by which you play, like no metagaming, no power gaming, all that. So what makes a good role player? Those are the basics. What makes a good role player to me is somebody who knows how to push a boundary without pushing social convention too far. For example, if you want to play, I'll use an edgy thing. If you want to play a racist character, there are ways to play a racist without being overt. Be clever. Running around screaming the N-word till your head falls off isn't clever, and it's certainly not roleplay to me. It's you being a troll. But if you want to play a true racist character, there are certainly ways to do it. Take the scene in Django Unchained with the KKK members. Every last one of us laughed at that. Everybody laughed at that, yet it was awkwardly racist, and Tarantino did it very fucking well. You can do the same kind of nuanced thing here. You can't do the exact same thing, but you can do the same nuances in any role-play game. You could be, you could do that with sexism, what have you. It doesn't matter what you do. So I like to see people who push some boundaries without being over the top trolly and dumb. My cam and my sync are slightly off. I apologize. I'll see if I can fix that later. Number 2, and probably one of the biggest things to me is legacy roleplay. Actually, this falls into number 3 as well, but don't steal from another character or another player. That includes yourself. Don't borrow or steal from them. There are ways that you can get around all this stuff. For example, I played Nate, this guy. I played Tony Match. The only time, I beat my cheek. The only time those two characters ever crossed names, because they never crossed paths, was the fact that they shared an apartment together. They didn't share it together. Tony always said he lived in a different one, but the fact that when Nate left the city, Tony liquidated his assets. Because that's how the code set was. But don't be your character's uncle, brother, fucking son, daughter, sister, aunt, goldfish from a second cousin twice removed. Don't do it. It's cheesy. It often is clunky. You get a lot of people being awkward around you because they don't know exactly what to tell you. And ultimately, it makes people suspicious of metagaming in the fucking biggest way. Because it's really hard for you to separate in your head if you're saying, well, I'm Nate's cousin. It's really tough because then you're setting yourself up psychologically to tell Nate things. And that is metagaming. People do it a lot, though. Like, I've seen it across a bunch of servers where somebody's like, oh no, I'm so-and-so's brother. They told me this. No, they didn't. I'm sorry. As a storyteller for a couple of years, if somebody did that in one of my LARPs, I would remove the character from the game, give the player a strike, and tell them don't fucking do that shit again. If that's assuming if I even approved it, because I wouldn't, and tell them be original, challenge yourself, because that's easy. That's the easiest way out. I hate Legacy RP. Number 3, don't steal from other players. It's annoying. Don't start a character and decide that character is not working for whatever reason, and then go and see somebody's character that you really like and borrow their idea or join into their clique or what have you. Because all you're doing is stealing their roleplay. You're taking their thunder from them. Don't do that. If you want to join the roleplay, that's great. Join it organically. Don't come across that interaction inorganically. Don't force it. Don't make a way into it. Simply talk to the person. This comes back to my understand one another thing. And chat with them about it and chat with what you have for ideas. Maybe they'll like it. Maybe they'll say, you know what? I want you to make a character. This is the thing. I have an idea. What do you have an idea? You get collaborative and it's so much more fun that way. It's way more interesting. All right. So don't legacy RP. Hate it. Don't steal from other players. I hate it. If you're going to do romantic style of RP,
less than 3 and off to bed.
I didn't mute those ones. Sorry. Gammy, thank you very much. 2nd month in a row. Love you very much. Good to see you. Have a good sleep. Oh, Jesus, Silver. I don't know what happened to your emotes, man. Anyway, if you're going to do romantic style RP, don't get too cheesy with it. Like, don't get too sappy. It is annoying to watch. And I've done sappy. It is annoying to do. And don't get overly, like, I guess, erotic. Don't get into ERP. Just don't do it, guys. If you want to do that, there's plenty of places on the fucking internet that you can go to. Tons of places. If you want to go do that stuff, go do them there. Don't do them in a place where you're trying to be serious. And the very last thing I'm going to say to you is say yes as often as you can. Don't stand around in a parking lot, say I'm bored. Say yes to changing that. I've always said be the change you want to see. For example, the reason why Nate's dressed like this is last night, the 4 of us were driving around and we got the idea to dress up as Santa and go sing to people standing in the parking lot. And we did. And we had some fun. It was great fun, actually. So we just went off and did it. Say yes as often as you can. That makes sense to your story. If your character's kind of guarded, a little harder. My character's very guarded, and I still do silly shit like this. Don't always be 100% balls out serious. Try to find the fun in it. That's what yes does. Anyway, there you go. A quick 30-minute, well, not 30-minute, maybe 20-minute, quick 20-minute tutorial on what I think a good role player is. And what I know that a lot of the people I roleplay with will agree with. It goes without saying, don't be a cheater. Don't harass people out of game. Like, if you think there's a problem there, obviously talk to them. But don't fucking just start pinging them and pinging them, pinging them and pinging them. Don't fucking call them sweetheart and baby and bullshit like that out of game if you think that you can get away with that as well, or hun or what have you. Who gives a fuck? You don't know these people. You don't know what they feel inside. They're not going to tell you. It's just going to make things uncomfortable anyway. And if somebody does want to talk to you about stuff, don't ignore them. Don't steal from other players. Don't steal from yourself. Don't do legacy roleplay. But do say yes, and do have fun, and do as much awesome, crazy, cool shit as you fucking can. Alright? Cool. Awesome. Music.